Britain is in the midst of an online shopping and banking boom. Now criminals are after a piece of that action.
Card fraud is a massive problem to us. Last year we lost £45,000 to £50,000 in card fraud.
Organised gangs are attacking our online finances.
You should be very, very worried. You should be as worried as the amount of money that's in your bank account, because it might not be in your bank account shortly thereafter.
We have exclusive details of an extraordinary attempt by Russian gangsters to threaten, bully and blackmail a British internet company.
We will attack you until you pay or close your doors. Have a nice day.
Tonight on the Money Programme, the sophisticated ways criminals target your cash in Britain's high-tech crime wave. Bill Timoney is a victim of a very modern crime. Late last year, he got an unexpected call from his bank.
They were asking me if I was a betting man or did ever do any online gambling, and which I said I didn't. And then they highlighted the fact that I was obviously a possible victim of credit card fraud. And that came right out of the blue as like a bombshell.
Bill was astonished to discover that bet after bet had been placed on the internet using his bank card. Each time his account was robbed of hundreds of pounds, and it all totted up.
She told me it was £2,000, and this was done over a period of 48 hours, which I found incredible.
For Bill, it was a mystery how the thieves found his bank details in the first place. He'd never lost his card or had it nicked, but somebody somehow had got hold of that data and used it to go on a gambling spree.
Someone's taken your identity, and they're obviously spending your money, and they're doing it with ease, and this is the part that really is worrying.
There's a cruel irony here. As a former chairman of the local police authority, Bill knows all about crime and its causes. But as he discovered, sophisticated bank card fraud respects no one.
It's certainly alarming, and if it could happen to me, and I'm a fairly careful type of individual, it can happen to anyone.
In our fast-moving world, we are all increasingly defined by electronic data. From our passwords to PIN numbers to the stripe on the back of our credit cards. But if criminals can get hold of that information, they can steal our identities, and then our money. Bank card stings cost the UK £500 million last year. Banks are so worried they set up a special police unit to fight card fraud.
The allegation is that there's transactions being carried out at this shop that are fraudulent, using what you know as your PDQ machine, your service device here for swiping the cards. You understand what I mean? Right, close.
Today, the unit are raiding a shop in South London, which they suspect to be part of a card fraud ring. Credit cards can be cloned, and the information on them transferred to any type of card, even a phone top-up card. So they're checking the data on every card in this shop. Stealing data from cards means big bucks for con men. The man who led today's raid says they're becoming ever more ingenious, and showed me some of the most common tricks.
This is a full cash point front. It consists of the slot where the customer puts the card in. This will be fitted over the existing front of the machine. So as the customer puts his card in the slot, there's a skimming device at the rear which captures the data of the magnetic stripe of your card.
And in tandem with that fake cash point front, the criminals even use a hidden camera.
The camera inside here will record you putting in your PIN number.
So even before you've actually taken any money out, you've actually been done?
Absolutely, and you're totally unaware of it.
But the banks are currently rolling out their latest weapon in their battle with the card criminals. It uses state-of-the-art chip technology, alongside our personal PIN numbers, making over-the-counter fraud far more difficult. The new system is called Chip and Pin, and a flashy promotional campaign is trumpeting its introduction on the high street. But we'd be kidding ourselves if we thought that was the end of the story.
Fraudsters were making £500 million in 2004. If Chip and Pin makes a big dent in their earnings, they're going to go somewhere else. There's no doubt about that. They are organised gangs. They're very keen to make sure they're not going to lose out financially. They're going to go to the next easy target.
And that next easy target is the internet. Britain's seen an explosion of online commerce. In 2004, we spent £14.5 billion online. But that's like a red rag to the criminal fraternity. Last year, they used stolen financial details to grab £117 million worth of goods on the net. Nick Glynn runs a successful online business, selling laptops. He finds he's increasingly vulnerable to cyber criminals.
Card fraud is a massive problem to us. Originally, fraudsters that dealt with credit cards weren't particularly sophisticated. Now, the level of sophistication required for a fraudster to carry out the sort of crimes that we've been hit by is quite sophisticated.
The criminals use stolen financial data to buy laptops from Nick's website. It's not that Nick is lax with security. For instance, he'll only deliver to the cardholder's billing address. But that doesn't foil the con merchants. In some cases, they've even convinced the banks to change the billing address to a temporary alternative.
They know their IT, they know their way around the web, they know how to get through the very security either that we've put in place or the banks have put in place. It's quite frightening, really.
This man is one of Britain's leading experts on computer crime. As an ex-hacker, he knows just how hard it is to stem online fraud.
The biggest thing that's in it for the criminals working over the internet is anonymity. Nobody knows you're a crook. Nobody knows that you're not a legitimate business. Nobody knows that you're not a legitimate customer. You've got complete anonymity. And for some of the criminal acts that you can do online, you are not just anonymous, but also untraceable.
As a result, crime is rocketing. Nick's business has to deal with 15 attempted card frauds every day. And he has to pick up the tab. It's got so bad, he's worried for the future.
We lose around £45,000 to £50,000 a year from fraud, which is a massive dent in our annual profits. I employ 28 people here, and if fraud gets any worse for us, I very much doubt that we'll be able to carry on in business.
But in this high-tech game of cat and mouse, the criminals still aren't satisfied. They found a new target. As a nation, we now have 15 million online bank accounts. Canny criminals want to fleece them by getting hold of our personal bank details. One tactic is called phishing, spelt with a PH, where the criminals send you an email you think is from your bank. This then tricks you into parting with your passwords and PIN numbers. The head of security for MasterCard Europe is so worried by this con, he set up a team to trawl the internet and catch the phishing gangs.
Well, this site, for instance, has been identified and only just opened about 30 minutes ago. So we found it about 30 minutes ago. So that's how fresh it is. So here they're asking for you to input your card number. It would be sent out to, obviously, to a mass audience, and it's asking to put your card number in now.
I mean, it looks pretty kosher, doesn't it? It looks like a genuine site.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it could fool most people.
All the major high street banks have been targeted, and thousands of us have been deceived. Here are their genuine banking websites. Criminals steal the logos and designs, and then use them to create emails like these, which can fool people into giving out crucial passwords and PIN numbers. Once they're in the bag, nicking the money is pretty straightforward. It's hard to tell the difference, and all too easy to be suckered into giving vital information away.
And now you can see that it's starting to ask for further information. Now it's at the top line is asking for the expiry date of your card. And it's also asking for a signature panel code. And if you don't know where it is, it'll actually show you
how helpful of it.
Exactly, how helpful can it be?
So the last 3 digits on the back of the card, which I know are crucial,
yes.
aren't they? Yeah.
The next one should be a giveaway, really, because it's asking for your PIN, your ATM PIN. Now, nobody asks for your ATM PIN, so now actually you should be very, very suspicious that something is going on.
So they've got your card number, they've got your PIN, they've got the last 3 digits on the reverse of your card, the expiry date. So he's basically taking you over, and to a certain extent, so that he can then start spending your money.
Brian Bayliss' team have identified and shut down over 1,000 phishing websites. But as one line of attack is shut off, the criminals move on to the next one. And now they've latched on to a scam that's even more devious than phishing. Fraudsters can acquire valuable banking details without even bothering to ask you for them. John Worthington runs a small business making rape alarms in Cambridgeshire. No computer expert, he switched to internet banking 2 years ago.
Well, I went into a local branch of our bank, and there was a young man there virtually selling internet banking to customers. He sat me down, showed me how easy it was. I gave him a password, or I keyed in a password, and that was it.
John found internet banking quick and convenient. With an eye to security, he made sure only he knew his passwords. But in September last year, he got a phone call from the bank.
They said that they suspected money had been fraudulently transferred from the account, and they asked me if I transferred any money to a certain lady in the north of England, and the name was quite new to me. I obviously hadn't done so. At that point I realised this was serious, and well, I was speechless for a little while, to say the least.
To steal the money, the thieves had transferred 8 grand from John's account to another Lloyd's account holder, and they were attempting to steal a further 54,000 when they were stopped. John says the bank told him he may have been the victim of a new sort of crime, a virus attack which lets criminals spy on and then steal data directly from your computer.
I think this happened because perhaps I'd opened an attachment when I shouldn't have done, and that's how a virus got planted in the computer. It's not easy when you come in first thing in the morning and you see a long list of emails, many of them you're not interested in, a lot of nonsense, and I think you could easily put a click in the wrong place.
And if you do put a click in the wrong place, the criminals can then attack your PC. It's called keylogging.
I asked a leading information security firm to replicate an attack on this computer. So they sent me an email, just like the sort of junk email you get sent every week. So here we go. It looks innocuous enough from Fred Smith. Congratulations, Rajan, you're a winner. Well, that sounds good. So you go into that. Oh, hi, Rajan, it's your lucky day. You've just won our online competition. Let's click onto the prize. Now, nothing's happened. I might not have won anything, but what I now risk losing is an awful lot of money.
That's because by opening that email, I allowed a program in to spy on my computer. So as I went about everyday business, such as writing letters to my bank manager, buying tickets online, and checking my important financial details, all the personal information I typed in was simultaneously being relayed to the attacker's computer. So how badly was I hit? I took my laptop to the labs of our computer experts to find out.
So what did you actually learn about me from this morning?
A number of things, including the online banking system that you use, information about your bank manager's name, your home address. For example, your house number is number 23. The person you wrote to, Mr. Johnson, the particular bank account details that you have, it starts with 388.
You got all that from me from this morning?
Absolutely.
Because of this email that was sent to me?
Because of that, yes. This piece of software that was sent and we saw hit your machine was very, very powerful. It was then able to sit there and siphon each and every time you pressed a button on your keyboard. So every letter that you typed, was recorded in this particular log called a keystroke log.
In an attempt to beat keystroke logging, the banks have introduced what's called drop-down menus for banking passwords, where you use your mouse instead of typing. But in this ever-changing battle of wits, the fraudsters have found another tactic. The latest rogue software is able to reproduce the whole of your screen at the hacker's computer, and in time lets them crack your secret banking passwords.
They could, in theory, quite easily log in as you, see your online banking details, transfer money in, transfer money out, perform whatever action they wanted to do. And the scary thing is that would be as you.
Lloyds TSB said they couldn't comment on John's individual case and stressed they'd refunded him in full. John may have got his money back, but it hasn't restored his faith in online banking.
I'm not in any hurry to go back onto online banking. I've got plenty of other problems in running a day-to-day business without being short of cash as well.
Part of the problem lies in how well we've protected our computers from hackers. To do that, you need a blocking device called a firewall and antivirus software. But research done by the banking body Apax shows that 41% of us have no active firewall and 25% don't have up-to-date antivirus protection, which means millions of Britons are easy prey for the hackers.
If you're doing online banking with just an ordinary password to get you in there and you've not got good quality antivirus, the antivirus isn't up to date, you've not got a firewall, or the firewall's not up to date, you should be very, very worried. You should be as worried as the amount of money that's in your bank account, because it might not be in your bank account shortly thereafter.
There are very, very simple things, very simple steps that customers should do to protect their PC. And the analogy would be, you would never leave your house without locking the front door, so look after your PC in the same way. Make sure that you have the appropriate virus software and firewalls on your PC and that those are kept up to date.
Mick Dietz is on a mission. He's one of the top detectives in charge of tackling organised computer crime. And he warns keylogging is now hitting people hard.
Criminals are making a lot of money out of keylogging. We're seeing a great deal of it. We are seeing websites that are almost devoted to this particular subject, and we are seeing servers around the world that are receiving dumps of data from home users who have all had their machines infected and whose details are being passed to those machines.
But if your home PC is infected, it's not just your bank account that the criminals will be after. Your computer can then become part of what's called a botnet, a robot network of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of infected computers. This can then be used to devastating effect.
Some British businesses already know the chaos which botnets can wreak. Peter Pedersen is the Chief Technology Officer for BlueSquare.com, one of Britain's leading online gambling websites. Early last year, his site was besieged by serious problems.
What the customers would experience is something that appears as if our websites are slowing down. So they would be almost grinding to a halt, and pages would effectively come back to their PCs slower and slower and slower.
No more bits. In fact, the Blue Square website was being targeted. Somebody somewhere was deliberately bombarding it with tens of thousands of requests for its homepage all at once. As a result, BlueSquare.com started crashing. Its 750,000 account holders now couldn't place their bets, and that spelt trouble.
It's huge pressure because the business is under attack. The turnover is not coming in, and ultimately this could have a big impact on the business.
buried beneath the Hampshire countryside is a front line in the battle against botnets. This former nuclear bunker is the secure operations centre of the internet security firm Symantec. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, experts here track the global spread of computer viruses. This man leads the technical battle against cyber attacks on behalf of many of Britain's leading companies. And he says the stakes are high.
If we go back a year, an attacker was often a youth trying to seek attention. Now it's not. Now it's a criminal gang. It's a criminal gang that can bring resources to bear, that has a definite financial motive when they launch an attack. We can see how they can bring resources to bear by the huge explosion in the variations of attack that are coming out. 7,500 in 6 months is a lot to produce. So they're producing this on almost an industrial cybercrime scale.
Back at Blue Square, the criminals finally made contact.
We found an email that had been sent to our customer services department asking us to pay a ransom for the attackers to stop attacking us.
Hello. We attack your site for some time. We wait $20,000 bank wire on our bank account. Think about how much money you lose while your site is down. But if you pay us, we stop attack immediately.
It was horror all the way, all around, both me and the staff. Clearly, we had no idea what we were dealing with, and I put a call into National High-Tech Crime Unit straight away.
Across town, Mick Dietz knew that scores of online betting sites were being blitzed, so he called the industry in for a crisis meeting.
They came along here to the unit, to this very room, and we discussed the problem that we were seeing, the fact that others could be affected by it. It definitely looked like a trend that was going to continue, and decisions were made there about how they would respond if they received a demand for money, and they took the stance that they weren't going to pay.
So Blue Square didn't reply to the first email, but in the weeks that followed, they kept getting fresh threatening ransom demands in broken English, followed by attacks on the website.
Hi. Try to understand. By fighting with us, you losing much more money. Your business costs $30,000. We will attack you until you pay or close your doors. Have a nice day.
Blue Square staff worked 24 hours a day to try and outwit their attackers, constantly increasing the size of their internet capacity to ensure their punters could place their bets.
The battle during an attack was very much a cat and mouse situation. We would make our modifications, do new things. Any trick of the trade we tried, they would follow us and they would counter anything we tried to do.
In the summer of 2004, the National High-Tech Crime Unit made a breakthrough in Russia.
High-Tech Crime Unit. Okay. We've been tracking you for quite some time. We know all about you. We know all about you.
They'd arranged for money to be paid to the extortionists so that they could trace where it went.
We followed the money route and picked up 10 people in Latvia. From there, the money was moving across to Moscow. And in Moscow, it was moving down to southern Russia. So we could follow that money trail.
The police had captured the attacker's botnet mastermind. But that didn't deter the rest of the gang. Peter Pedersen now got a call direct from the other blackmailers.
Good morning, Blue Square.
Hello, actually, it seems to me that your website is offline.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's actually down at the moment.
I would like to speak to someone who wishes to bring this website online.
Do you want to speak to someone who...
Please put me through with the main chief or something like that. I'm the person who's responsible for your website being offline.
All right, one moment.
That was a bit of a shock as the call was put through to myself, and I had a lengthy telephone conversation with him, which was a chilling experience. He was very firm, and I said, there's no way I can entertain paying, and then he gave us a time frame. The attacks during that week were the most fierce that we had seen, the biggest attack that I've seen. They lasted for a whole week, from a Monday early morning till a late Sunday evening.
Blue Square stuck to its guns and refused to pay. Then in the autumn, Mick Deet's team made crucial further arrests in Russia. Today, 5 people are awaiting trial there on charges of extortion, and more are still wanted.
It's been a pretty successful operation and a good message sent to the community in Russia on this occasion that were involved in this, that the UK is a hostile environment to be conducting this sort of activity, and that they will be chased down if they're affecting British companies to this extent. So we're pleased with the activity that's taken place in Russia, but there's still more to be done.
And despite the best efforts of the police, Peter Pedersen still can't rest easy.
The botnets are still there, they're still owned by people, and what we as an industry have shown to the attackers is that we do not accept the extortion attempts, and we will not pay up. Whether that will stop them coming again is not a matter.
Botnets are a global phenomenon, but Britain is now more infected with them than any other country in the world. The price for being at the forefront of the broadband revolution.
We now have millions of broadband users who are online the whole time. This means 2 things to the attacker. One is they can attack you more often because you're online longer. And secondly, because you're online longer, you're a far better place to launch an attack from. They can launch attacks from you the whole time. So they like this target.
Britain's online crime wave cost British business an estimated £2.4 billion last year. The cat and mouse game continues. Britain's banks are investing in new technology to try and stay ahead of the gangs. And they insist internet banking is still safe if you take the right precautions.
15 million customers out there do use online banking. That's a third of the banking population. That's a massive number. That's been particularly growing in the last couple of years. And people use it for a range of reasons. They use it because it's convenient, but they also use it because they know it's secure.
But one of Britain's top computer crime experts says the British public cannot afford to be complacent about the risks.
I don't have an internet bank account, and no, I'm by no means unique. I think if you talk to an awful lot of people in information security, they will all tell you that they don't have, don't want, and wouldn't use an internet bank account precisely because of the security concerns.
Next on the Money programme, the world's biggest fast food company has bounced back by adding salads and fruit to the menu. Now they want us to exercise too. So can you really get healthy with McDonald's? That's in 3 weeks' time after Wimbledon.